Hey everyone, and welcome to Screams After Midnight. I am Peter, that is Tim, and we talk about horror movies on this show. And this episode is about a horror comedy called Dude Bro Party Massacre III. Now, we'll start spoiler free, as we always do, and we'll give you warning before we get into spoilers somewhere in the middle. This was a movie that Tim watched and said, Hey, do you want to do an episode on this? Do you want to go find it, track this down, and we can do an episode on it. So this was Tim spearheading this choice. So I think to change things up a little bit, Tim.
Okay.
You know what? No, I won't actually. I'll ask you, Tim.
Okay.
So this is it's not actually, because obviously when Tim said you want to do Dude Bro Party Massacre 3, I said we've not done the first two, as one might say to that question. And it turns out, no, it's not actually a sequel. It's just that's the joke, is that the first two don't exist. It's kind of like the gimmick of the movie is that it was a banned slasher movie in the 80s that was taped on TV, and
like complete with like you'll get like commercials and stuff throughout the movie.
Yeah, you get like the start or the end of the commercials. You know, as if someone who was recording it paused the tape.
Yeah,
when the commercials were on, and you get like little tail ends of some of them. That's part of the joke. And it is a very kind of strictly, intentionally bad slasher movie. That's kind of the joke they're going for. And there's this. What was it? What was the name of the killer?
Motherface.
Motherface. That was it. So you got Motherface, who's, you know, despite the fact that they've went through these situations before and they've killed the first two Motherfaces, there's a new Motherface. And we have the twin brother of the survivor of the first two movies actually dies at the start of the film to set up the plot. And it's his twin brother who's the main character, who's at the frat house now where they all hang out to try and figure out who killed his brother. And that's what the gist of the movie is. So Tim, did you enjoy Dude Bro Party Massacre 3?
Surprisingly, yeah. And I say that because sometimes I'm like a little particular about comedies, especially like you know, we mentioned it before on the podcast a lot how we like bad, you know, cheesy 80s horror movies and stuff. And you know, but we usually don't like it when something is bad on purpose. So I think it's a very fine line when you're kind of making fun of this type of movie. You know, like when it's done on purpose, it doesn't feel as fun and as genuine as, you know, like the real thing. So sometimes that's a little bit iffy to me, but I did want to watch this because I'd seen Patton Oswalt talking about it before, because he's in the movie and he's probably like one of the, I guess the two like kind of notable stars are him and Greg Sestero from The Room, which I didn't even realize he was in it. But
Joe, when he popped up, I went, I know him from something. I can't quite place it, but I know him from something. And I looked it up and I went, shit, it's him from The Room.
Yeah, so I had kind of an interest, but yeah, just I've seen this kind of thing done poorly before, so I wasn't sure about it. And when I watched it, I was pretty surprised. I was laughing a lot. Definitely not every joke lands. There's some, like, you know, jokes and characters that I could have done without, and I do think it was a little too long. Like, was it like almost like an hour 50 or so almost?
It's about an hour 40.
Yeah, so like you easily could have cut it down to like 90, 85 minutes or something. I think it would have been a little bit better there, but I surprisingly liked it. And actually, I would say, even though it is a comedy, some like decent like gore and death scenes, like they're obviously super cheesy and over the top, but they looked good. So, you know, practical special effects looked cool.
I hate you, Tim. I hate that you made me watch this. This was painful. This felt 4 hours long to me.
Oh, come on. It wasn't that bad.
I'm not going to lie, Tim. There was a moment about 5 minutes in where I actually was like, do I just stop now and say we're not doing this because I can't get through this? But I soldiered through it. I soldiered on because I knew if I watched it and we did the episode, I could complain to you. I could yell at you for making me do it. So this is why we're here. This is why I finished the goddamn piece of shit. It is garbage. Absolute.
Oh, come on.
It's not funny. It is not. It's funny because you brought up why this isn't funny when you said, oh, so sometimes when they try to intentionally make a bad movie, it's not funny. That is what this is to me. This is them trying to, like, I like cheesy bad slashers from the 80s. Them
Yeah.
doing it intentionally, I mean, I'm not saying it can never work, but this did not work for me. On top of that, the whole dude bro thing, everyone's like,
Mhm.
the dude bro frat boys, like, oh god, no.
That I think that gets like old pretty fast. Like that'd be like kind of like might get big complaint. And there's admittedly this is from like what like 2015 I
Yeah.
think is a year. But I feel like there's this kind of joke now where um like to overly like make fun of like the female character to the point where it's like, oh, get it, like the joke is like they're like being so overly over the top mean, where it's like, oh, like only dumb jerks would act like this. I kind of feel like that happens a lot, like It's Always Sunny or something, but I feel like that's a joke people go to like too much. um so like that like there's the one female character in here that, yeah, and everyone's like, oh, come on, like I just want to hang out with my dude bros or whatever. um that, yeah, like that didn't work for me. But I don't know, overall it's like, yeah, it's a lot of very stupid, but it's also like very silly and absurd, which is like, I don't know, my kind of type of comedy. I don't think well, obviously you didn't like it, but that's like, I really like super kind of absurd stuff like that. Like um yeah, I don't know if you ever watched it, but I assume you probably wouldn't like it. But I really like stuff like Tim and Eric and those kind of things, which I assume you probably wouldn't be
I've
into.
never seen, no. So,
Yeah, I doubt you would like it, but I like that kind of stuff.
I can't, I just, for me, like, the humor here was, like, it really felt like it was frat boys who made this and would think this would be funny.
Mm, and I mean, I don't really know the guys that made this. I don't know. I guess I can.
Also, was this like a Kickstarter or something? Because the credits
It
were really
must have
long
been.
and there was like a ton of names at the end.
Yeah, no, it must have been. I'm not familiar with the people that made it. I think I was talking to a friend about it. I think they said they're like some like YouTube comedy channel or something. Which I think they do like really short, like kind of 5-second commercial parodies, which is where you get the commercial stuff in the film
Mm.
from. Which most of those did make me laugh too. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I liked it. What can I say?
I like there was the occasional like trope that we're playing with that was like, okay, I like movies playing with these tropes, but
Like I like the joke that like you have the angry dean that's like, oh, like your pranks go too far, and when like they're literally talking about like how their pranks are like causing like war and like that kind of stuff. Like that's like the so stupid and silly absurd kind of thing that I think is funny.
yeah, but one of them was they flooded the entire town and
Yeah.
it created a new lake and they killed 4,000 people.
Oh yeah, and then they go to to rent boats from the guy whose entire like family was drowned, and he's just like crying at their grave. Like that to me is like really funny.
That sounds funny when you're saying it, but in the movie, the characters all have those really annoying voices, and it's this really snide version of humor where, like, it's just I don't know, it feels like really annoying in people thinking they're funny, to me.
I get that, and it's hard because I don't really know these people. So like you said,
Yeah,
I mean they could be annoying frat dudes. I got more the sense that like again that they're trying to send up that kind of frat culture and stuff.
I mean, maybe yeah, I mean, maybe they are like maybe that's the
It's
point.
certainly hard to tell. But no, like I get that. I mean, this is yeah, this is a hard one because it is more horror. I mean, more humor. So it's really gonna depend on your taste of humor, which I think we have pretty. I mean, we have some stuff that overlaps, but I think we do have pretty different senses of humor.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like obviously there'll be overlap, there'll be differences, but I feel like
Yeah.
this type of humor for me, this was like this was like went right along with like it reminded me of like Shriek, I Know What You Did Last Friday the 13th. It reminded me of like those types of spoofs.
I mean, I really hate those. So I mean, I don't know. For me, it didn't really feel like that. Like those type of movies, and with your scary movie 5 or epic movie, that kind of stuff. uh, I hate that shit that's like too on the nose, where it's like literally like, you see the Annabelle doll and they're making fun of Annabelle or something. Like, I like it when, you know, it's a more general, broad, like, satire of, at no point, like, do they, it's not like they see a hockey mask and go, like, it's Friday the, 14th or something. Like, it's not like something dumb like that. Like, I like that it's just like, oh, we're just making fun of, like, the slasher genre in general.
And I'm all for deconstructing the slasher genre. I think there's tons of ways that you could do that that would uh, uh, appeal to me. That would work for me. I feel like this though, the humor they go for, the way they tackle it, just makes me want to kill every character as quickly as humanly possible.
I mean, to be fair, I would say like not every character worked for me. Like, I really didn't like the cop character.
Oh yeah, that was
Like,
super stupid. His entire running joke is that he wanted to like have like a bookmobile thing, right? But he phrased it as, oh, when he first read a book, it was like
it,
a bang in his head.
yeah,
So he wants to bang children, and
yeah,
like it's basically the Tobias Funke joke from Arrested Development, where he doesn't realize what he's saying or how it sounds.
yeah.
But it just isn't that funny.
I think you can get away with that, like saying it like once, but yeah, they brought it up way too many times, and
Mm.
like he to me more felt like, you know, that he just had like stuff that was just kind of crass and like anti-woman and stuff just for the sake of it, like that. Yeah, that like that kind of stuff. I didn't like, but like the actual like dude bros themselves and Motherface, like that kind of stuff, I was more into and would usually laugh at that.
Motherface was okay. Like that's probably the
Yeah,
only character. I mean, she was killing all the assholes, so I was kind of, I was kind of
yeah.
on her side if anything. Um,
And then like yeah, just like in the beginning having this guy like recount like everything that happened like in the like first two non-existent movies.
yeah. So you
I was
see
like,
like you see like 14 death scenes in the space of like 4 minutes as he's just sort of
yeah.
running through them all. Um,
I think just to be, I mean, just to be like super safe, um, should we just
safe.
go into spoil?
All right. Okay. Right. I was like, what do
Like,
you
should we
mean? What
just
do you
go into
mean?
yeah? Should we just go into spoilers just in case? Because it's like,
Yeah. Yeah. We
yeah,
can go
I think
spoilers.
people can kind of clearly get our opinions on it.
Yeah, it's garbage.
No, I
That'll be
think it's funny.
reflected in my score at the end. Just you wait, Tim. You're gonna have some
Oh, wait do
serious
you?
numbers.
Oh, wait do you hear mine?
Oh god, this is worse than The Boy. It is. No, it's actually worse than The Boy. This is a worse movie than The Boy. I would watch The Boy 10 more times instead of watching this once again. That is where I'm at
Well,
with this.
well, The Boy is a great movie, so I mean, I don't see why you would not want to watch it. But
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I mean, there's some fun death ideas. Some of them are obviously really fake looking, kind of intentionally. That's kind of the joke.
yeah,
Like I appreciate the deaths, of course, I do.
yeah.
For me, I think because I was so not into the humor, and a lot of it was really drawn out. Like there was so many jokes that I felt they drew out for far too long, that a lot of the scenes felt like they were just never ending. Like it was like, okay, can we just get
Mhm.
to the point with this,
Mhm.
please?
Yeah, again, it is a little too long. I would agree with you on that, but I don't know. I had fun and I was laughing a lot. Again, it's super over the top and absurd. So I think if you like that, then yeah, you might dig it. Um,
Do
I'm
you know
trying.
what I think part of my problem is? I think the tone of the movie, it feels like a sketch on a comedy show. That's the tone, and
Do you?
I don't think that tone works for a whole movie.
Mm, uh, for me, it does. But to be fair, I mean, maybe it's just our differences in humor. Like, I grew up on like sketch stuff, like kind of like the first like big comedy stuff that I remember, like just absolutely falling in love with, or like Mr. Show and Kids in the Hall and like Upright
Hmm.
Citizens Brigade and stuff. Like, I'm a really big fan of sketch, and yeah, it does feel like kind of a sketch movie, especially with like the commercials and stuff. So I'm actually a pretty big fan of that. Obviously, I don't want to see like every movie like that, but
I think
uh,
for me, like I prefer it when it's like I'll take Scream to deconstruct the slasher genre, or I'll take even
oh
the
sure, yeah,
Sleepaway Camp sequels or whatever. Probably my favorite kind of like deconstruction of a genre though is probably Galaxy Quest. I mean, obviously it's not horror, but like just
okay,
the way that handles it, where it kind of takes the ideas and it makes more of a sort of proper comedy out of it.
I mean, I feel like like when I think of like a movie that's trying to like deconstruct the genre, I feel like it has something more to say. I wouldn't say this movie is trying to say something. I think they're just having
Yeah,
fun
or even
and
I
making
mean, the
jokes.
obvious choice, Cabin in the Woods.
Oh sure, yeah.
Like that's what that does, and that's really funny. But I feel like there's like, can you go back to Galaxy Quest? I think Galaxy Quest and this movie arguably are similar in the sense that they both kind of poke all the same jokes, in the sense that obviously it's not the same things because it's different genres, but it's pointing out the sort of Galaxy Quest is the Star Trek, but this is the slasher movies. But the difference with Galaxy Quest, on top of the fact that it has like an all-star cast and everything else, is that it still has like this genuine kind of heart to it, where it's like takes it kind of, it's like, okay, I understand why people love this. It has some good points to make. It's got a really witty script. Whereas this, I feel like a lot of the jokes, there's a couple of things that build upon themselves, and I appreciate that. But a lot of the jokes, it really feels like, oh, we thought us, it does feel like someone's sitting around and just thought, oh, this will be stupid and funny, right? Yeah, it will be. Let's just say it.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm expecting like an actual movie, like something that I'm going to go to theaters and with production value and like actors and stuff, like yeah, that kind of thing wouldn't work. But for the obviously just the kind of dumb silly thing that they're going for, I think this worked. Like I think if you look at it like the Roger Ebert angle, where I think when he'd review movies, he would say like, what is the movie trying to achieve? And I think obviously I don't think this movie is trying to achieve anything too grandiose or deep. I think it is just trying to be silly and pretty random and stuff, which hey, for me it worked. But it's gonna be your sense of humor.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I like the idea of this being a recording from TV from the 80s. Like, I actually think that's a fun little idea. If anything, though, I thought they could have went further with the actual footage of the movie. Just looked, I mean, it was 4:3, but it just looked like crisp 1080p to me. Like, they should have, grindhouse it, make it look like shit.
Yeah. I'm just remembering. I did really like Greg Sestero's character. It's just nice to see him in other stuff. I like that, like his character was afraid of tools, because again, it's just such a stupid thing.
Mm-hmm.
It made me laugh.
I liked when we found out at the end, because it's a school therapist. The killer's been working as a school therapist for a while, and she's like, you know what, Derek? And this is Sestero's character, if I say it properly. Derek, he, do you know a year ago he like ran down an 8-year-old and buried the body like somewhere? And...
I like that. Also, like I thought this was I for a while I kept trying to figure this out, and then ultimately realized like, oh, I don't think it matters. But like I was like, wait, why does like the chief of police or whatever, he like wants to resurrect Motherface, but then there's also like already another Motherface running around. But I just think it's like so like you're not supposed to worry about the plot at all.
Yeah, I think he wanted to like. I don't think he knew that there was another Motherface running around. I think he just wanted to bring her back because he hates the Dude Bros because they've caused so much trouble.
Yeah. Which is, and again, I like the like I kind of like that college, that trope of like college movies where it's like, oh, like this frat's like out of control, but like they're supposed to be the heroes or whatever. But, I don't know.
I hated this movie, Tim. I really did.
Well, I guess it kind of, on the one hand, it kind of makes me happy that I made you suffer a little bit, at least.
God. The fact that one character has a robot of himself out of nowhere.
The robot that would have like been able to save the day had the other guy not accidentally killed it.
Yes, the guy was dancing with it, and he thinks he's killed it. We don't know it's a robot until later, because the guy shows back. We think the guy snapped his neck, and then he shows up in the next scene, and he's like, "What? What's happening here?" And it's not until later you find out. No, he built a robot in case the killer came back again to kill the killer, and now the robot's dead. And then Motherface shoots like a device on the real guy, and it turns him into controllable, like he is a robot. She's got like a remote control, like she's got like a toy car, and she makes him like kill himself. It's weird.
It reminds me of like something like Freddy would do. I don't think it's that like out of place in like a cheesy horror movie.
No, I mean, I'm not really complaining about this so much. I think this is the sort of stuff where if the humor was landing for me, I'd probably be into a few more of these things, the weirder elements.
For sure, yeah.
I think the weirder elements I don't have a problem with. My core problem, and unfortunately it just ruins the entire thing, is the characters, how they speak, the tone of the scenes, and the pacing of the humor. Like, all those things, the fundamentals, basically, are the things that I hate. And because
No,
of that, the whole thing's
I mean,
just a chore.
I mean that's fair. Like I don't really. I feel like this stuff is hard though because I don't really know how to like counteract like something where it's like, well,
Oh, yeah, sure.
like
I mean,
humor is such a subjective thing. It's hard to be like, I found this funny. It's like, well, I didn't. It's hard to be like, well, you're wrong
oh,
because
yeah, I mean,
you can define humor as
this is super just down to taste more than anything
yeah.
else.
And
Uh,
and
but
I'm not gonna try to like, I can't defend this and be like, oh no, this is super deep. There's more to it than you realize. Like, no, this is super surface. It is exactly what it is. I think, if you like stuff that's like super, you know, goddamn so freaking silly that it's almost like hard to watch. Like I kind of love that. Like the sillier and stupider stuff is it kind of tickles me. And I don't
yeah,
know. It doesn't work all the time and like the like something uh like talking about the something being so bad on purpose. Like I think of stuff more like Sharknado or something where it's like yeah, you can't make a purposely try to make a cheesy movie as like a cheesy movie, but I don't think that they were like trying to make a cheesy movie. They're trying to make like a comedy that is, the device is that it's like supposed to be a cheesy movie, if that makes any sense. But
I get what
yeah,
you're saying. I think for me though, the awkwardness of how I feel when other movies try to do that, it still kind of felt the same to me. Like the overall effect I was feeling from it was still kind of the same. Um, to run down other plot elements. So the cop, the
yeah,
cop is made to believe there's an orange crisis in the town, but there's not enough
yeah,
oranges. The vitamin C count
yeah.
for the town is down,
I gotta admit, I could have done without this plot.
right? And he's told that he's so basically the Patton Oswald, who's a good sport for appearing in this, bless him. Um, basically he sends him out to go to the lake house that the frat boys have been lured out to, because he's going to be sacrificed to make Motherface more powerful.
Yeah,
And his partner, the female cop, is told this, and she's like, "No, your job's to get him there and make sure this happens." And he's told that no, but what he's told is a lie. Is you have to go to the frat boys because those frat boys are actually piles of oranges.
yeah. I don't. I mean, I can't really defend this. I wasn't feeling this
Yeah.
part.
So they have a subplot where they're just kind of like their car like breaks down because they hit like whatever, hit a guy at one point. He drives over a guy,
Yeah.
um, and then at the end of the movie, she's kind of fallen for him, so she has sex with him because he's a virgin. That's the whole thing. He's a virgin
Yeah. Oh yeah.
sacrifice.
He was supposed to be a virgin sacrifice to resurrect
Yeah.
the original Motherface.
So she has sex with him on this like religious altar to like sort of save him, and then like he's like, "Oh, we're in love." But at the end of the movie, when they're back at the station, she's like, "Hey, there's something I have to confess. I'm actually a bag of oranges." And apparently, you turn the person back into the oranges by boinking them on the nose.
Yeah.
And that's what he does, and she turns into a pile of oranges. That happens in slow motion. And I will say this: I did almost crack a smile at the image of him being showered in oranges.
Yeah. Like I didn't like the I guess the setup for it like it's such a weird like lie to tell him and the fact that he would believe him, but I did like the payoff that like she does turn to a thing of oranges at the end.
And that showers the entire town in oranges for some reason. I don't
The,
even know.
I forgot about the his I guess quote unquote best friend in the wheelchair.
Oh, not a cop. Yeah, the main guy,
Yeah.
the twin. Yeah,
Oh yeah, the twin.
yeah. His best friend, who wants to join the fraternity at the start as well, is basically left behind at the water because he's in a wheelchair.
Yeah. So they
And
just tell him like, "Oh, you can take that other uh, path that's just like 20 miles out of the way.
Yeah, so when he disappears for most of the movie, and he shows up at the very end when the main character is going to get killed, and the killer's standing over him. She's revealed who she is. She's got an axe in her hand, and he shows up. Not only does he show up with in his wheelchair, he shows up with a bear, a wolf, and like a squirrel, and they're all like really fake looking. They're really fake, like stuffed animals. And he's like, I have now on my journeys, I have become one with the animals. I can now speak to them, and they will do my bidding. And he's got this big monologue, and then in the middle of his monologue, the killer just throws the axe at his head and kills him.
Yeah.
That's
And then I think don't the animals like drag him away?
I think so, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. There's a point in this movie where I started to zone out for stretches of time, where I took in all the plot, but there's probably a lot of details that I was starting to miss once I got so far into it.
I think I watched it about like maybe 2 weeks ago now. So yeah, it's not like everything's not like super fresh in my mind. Like I remember like, oh, like this joke I thought was funny, this joke I thought was funny. But yeah, it's maybe not the most like memorable thing. But I mean, obviously though, like the plot's not super important. It's not, if you zone out a little bit or you miss something here, it's not really that much of a detriment.
It's funny. I think if you kept the plot the exact same,
Mm.
but it just changed the style of humor, I'd probably be way more into it. but
Sure. Yeah.
but I'm not. So that's where it lands. Anything else plot wise? There's a lot of other kills here or there. There's the pledge who they're kind of torturing through all the movie. We've not even mentioned Turbo.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Turbo, who's spelt with the like faux, like the French.
Oh wait, who?
Turbo. That was his name, right?
Oh, Turbo. Oh no, I didn't hear what you said at first.
Yeah, Turbo.
Yeah.
Where is it? Where is it? He's really far down. Hold on. Let me Control F. Right. Aye, Turbo. With a EAUX spelling at the end of it.
Oh right.
Right.
Yeah.
Hard to forget that. He's like this like nut job who's always shouting and cares like so much about the pledges, and he doesn't like little puppies because we find out later on that it's because he has a hairy dick, so he hates his hairy puppy dick.
Yeah, like that was a I like the idea of him being scared of like little puppies, but yeah, like the the hairy puppy dick, like that does seem kind of like a frat boyish joke that I wasn't like crazy about.
Yeah, and the pledge guy.
I didn't know with that character though, was he supposed to look like Ash from Evil Dead? Because it kind of always looked like he was wearing like an ashy kind of costume.
I don't think so. I mean, the frat boys were like topless for like so much of the movie. I don't even remember an Ash-like costume.
It was kind of like looked like a bluish kind of like long sleeve shirt, and it looked like he kind of had something strapped on his back. It kind of reminded me of Ash's shotgun, and I don't know. It reminded me a little bit of that. I don't know if it was intentional or not though.
I never noticed, but nah. So you got him. You got the pledge guy who at one point they walk around in a box with a glory hole in it, where his mouth is that says glory hole.
Yeah, they keep wanting him to beef, which I wasn't sure exactly what that meant, and I wasn't sure if you're supposed to know what it means.
I have no idea what it means either, but that's the thing. Yeah, there's like so many characters who are there to die, of course.
He's a vegetarian, and then he's forced to eat his own stomach.
Mm-hmm. That's my hams, yes. I don't know. You're the one who likes it. Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, again, like I do think like the some of the kills like are like I was like semi impressed because like I'm assuming that this is like super low string budget, like they like they're doing stuff with miniatures and like when they're falling into the ocean, into the lake or whatever, into the old town, which I did think was funny that that's how deep the lake goes, and then like all the bodies come up. But I was like impressed, yeah, with some of the kills. I thought they looked good. Like I think that one guy that gets kind of like ripped in half or whatever, the tall guy that's like afraid of heights. I was like, oh, this like actually looks like pretty good.
Yeah, you had him. One of the ones at the start I thought was nice was on the juicer, where the oranges were eating juiced.
Oh yeah. That
was fun. The guy's face just getting put in that. That was a fun idea.
Yeah.
Eh.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like it's kind of hard to talk about, I guess, much more because again, without
It's just all jokes, really. There's
yeah,
not.
it's I don't know. I would again, it's kind of hard to recommend it to someone without really knowing their type of humor. I would say maybe if you do um like that kind of like maybe Tim and Eric style that's very fast, very random, very silly. I think maybe it might be worth giving a shot. But yeah, I mean, if people maybe kind of tend more to your side of like humor things that that doesn't appeal to, then yeah, I can definitely see how it would be torturous to watch.
Ah, so torturous. Then he has the dream sequence where he thinks he's figured out who the killer is, and
All
the
right.
woman takes off the mask, Scooby Doo style, and it's Ronald Reagan. Because
Which I kind of thought that was funny because I kept noticing there were like Ronald Reagan pictures in every room, and I was like, oh, this is like weird. And then
yeah,
like there's like maybe kind of a payoff.
I don't know. It's always that same photo as well. I feel like whenever there's a Ronald Reagan photo somewhere on a wall, it's always that same photo.
Yeah, I mean those are popular in the '80s. Everyone had one.
Of course, yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if I wonder if that was only a Reagan thing because like I've never seen people with just like a picture of Bill Clinton or I don't know. It seems weird.
Um, the 80s, man, they're weird. It's a weird time. It's a weird time. Yeah, for me, this was a complete stinker. It was a chore to get through. Like, there was times where I was almost going to call it quits and said, no, you know what, we're not even going to do an episode. But I wanted to yell at you, so I struggled through it and got to the end. Until the last orange dropped, basically, is what happened. And there's a very small post credit sequence, but it's not really much. It's just like the idea is that the tape went back to whatever was taped before it, so it's like a home video. But the guys like there's a point in the movie where
Oh right.
the main character's looking for the dog that's ran off. So he's just like
Yeah.
it's like a home video, but he's still walking through the house saying, "Hey, dog."
Yeah, he's searching. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it kind of he goes to like all these different scenes that are kind of like, oh, how would he be here or whatever.
Yeah. So, but I think that'll do it. I think that'll wrap it up. The horror comedy, Dude Bro Party Massacre 3. What would you rate it out of 10, Timmy?
Well, you'll probably be shocked at how high I go because I'm assuming you're gonna give a super low score. But hey, what can I say? Again, it's a matter of humor. The humor worked for me. I laughed a lot. Not everything landed though, so I can't go like super high. But I'm gonna give it a 7 though, which I think is pretty decent. And uh, yeah, again, not every joke worked, but for the majority of it did, and I was actually surprised at how much I laughed.
A 7.
Yeah. Oh, don't act like you haven't liked some garbage piles in the show.
Well, my rating for this is a straight 2 out of 10.
Ooh, ooh, ouch.
I dislike this more than Stillborn, Tim, for reference.
Okay, I mean, it's hard to compare. They're trying to do different things, but
Of course, I'm just trying to make it clear where this falls on the scale of the bad movies we have done. I think this is. I mean, it won't be in this year's like top 10 because it's not a movie from this year. But if it was, it would be. I'd be fighting for its inclusion. Don't you worry. Don't you worry at all.
all right, whatever you say.
I hate this so much. I hate you for making me watch it. I even tweeted earlier. What?
To be fair, I never made you watch it. I watched it and was like, oh hey, by the way, I watched this. If you want to watch it, I never said you have to
That's
watch
close enough. You know what? I actually tweeted out halfway through the movie. I tweeted out, "I'm watching a movie for Screams. I'm going to kill Tim." On a completely unrelated note, I'm going to kill Tim. Oh dear, you should feel bad. You should feel like I remember when I made us watch it at Watches, and I actually said, "Tim, I'm so sorry." You should feel that way. You should feel apologetic.
I regret nothing.
So bad. That is Dude Bro Party Massacre 3. Check it out at your own peril. If the humour sounds like it's to your taste, it is not to mine, but that is okay. So yeah, let us know what you think of the movie if you've seen it. Like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. Go over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV for some bonuses that are over there. and you can support the show, get some other things from other shows. But you can do that. You can also like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. All of it supports us. Get us on Twitter at @mailed_fuzz. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching scary movies, guys. Better movies than this one. And we'll see you next time.